It's a great problem with punishment is that when people start hitting on horses or banging on the halter or doing whatever they're doing, the horse has no way of removing the pressure. When we're conditioning responses with precision, we put pressure on and the horse always knows how to remove the pressure. But when people are punishing horses, there's nothing he can do. Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying this series of videos. Lots and lots of information all there for you. Information that I've been looking for and finding over the last 20 or 30 years. And I think it's really important to get it out there, to make it available as much as possible and to make a change in the horse world. Now, I'll talk about another subject today that's kind of a delicate issue and probably requires a little bit of clarification, and that's the subject of punishment. Now, when we're using punishment, when we're trying to punish a horse for doing the wrong thing, we're already thinking that he knows right from wrong, so we're probably already a little bit off track. If you're trying to punish bad behavior, that implies that you think the horse understands good from bad and right from wrong, which isn't the case. Without having the prefrontal cortex necessary, the horse couldn't possibly be trying to do something wrong. Now, if you were going to make a behavior uncomfortable during the expression of the behavior, I'll give you an example. If a horse was biting and I lifted up my arm and he ran into my elbow and he said, well, that was uncomfortable, well, then he'd learn that that behavior doesn't work. Or if a horse went to rear and I brought my right rein around, he's rearing and turning off to the left, and as he went up, I pulled the right rein around, bent his neck around and pushed his hindquarters out, and then went forward again, the horse would say, well, I tried to rear, but that caused me to become uncomfortable, so I won't do that. But it needs to be what we call in science, what we call contingent. It needs to be happening while the horse is doing the bad behavior. It can't be happening after the bad behavior. If punishment is happening after a bad behavior, that's implying that the horse has reasoning abilities, that he knows what he did wrong. And that couldn't possibly be happening. So an example would be a horse that knocks a rail. I see that a bit over here in Europe. A horse is jumping, he drops a bar, he drops a rail, and then the rider punishes the horse because he shouldn't have done that. Now, that's not going to work because the horse can't know, oh yeah, it's because I touched that rail back there that now I'm getting hit. He would need to be uncomfortable when he's doing it. And probably it's happening anyway, because if he's hitting the rail, it hurts and it's making it uncomfortable when it's happening. So other people, the horse stops in front of the obstacle and they start punishing the horse and say, hey, he stopped, so I'll punish him, so that he knows that he shouldn't have done that. Well, the horse won't be going through all those mental all those cognitive processes. That's not going to be what's happening. All the horse is learning is, in front of this obstacle here, in front of this jump, I'm getting hit. This is not a good place to be. Now, you might feel like you're getting some success because you'll go back around, and as you're coming into the jump, the horse says, okay, here's where I got hit last time. Now the flight response clicks in and the horse is going, oh, I'm going to get hit. So his feet speed up and he jumps the jump, and people say, you see, it worked. It did, but now something else has gone wrong. Now the horse is starting to accelerate and charge into his obstacles. He's starting to, the last 3 strides, he's getting out of control and he's barging in there, and now the rider's trying to hold him back. And so the horse is coming into the jump thinking, well, if I stop, I get hit. And in front of this jump is not a good place to be, so I need to hurry up and get out of here. So he speeds his feet up. At the same time, the rider's pulling on his face, and he's thinking, this is not good. And eventually the horse starts to think, this jumping thing, I hate it. I don't want to do it. If I could not even go in the arena. And you see horses coming down. I see the big jumping competitions over here. They ride down, they get to the entry gate. The horse is looking out there, seeing all those jumps, and he's already starting to rear and spin around. He just hates that thing. So, he's a show jumping horse. Well, he doesn't want to do it anymore. How did that happen? And they've just caused the horse to hate it because they think that the horse understands their objectives, thinks that the horse should share their objectives. Well, of course, he doesn't. You know, if you worked her out on the flat and jumped the jump and stopped the horse and allowed the horse to think, okay, when I jump, I obtain pressure release, I profit, I like jumping. But if he's getting hit for not jumping, he's probably not going to understand that, okay, jumping is the right thing to do. What he is going to understand is jumping can cause you to become very uncomfortable. Now, the associative risk of punishment is very important. By that I mean, it depends in which context you're punishing the horse. but he will probably make a very nasty association with that context. If I was trying to clip my horse and he started moving and I decided, well, I'll punish him because he's moving, because he should know that he shouldn't move, and you probably taught the horse to do it anyway. You've probably been clipping the horse, he moved and the clippers were removed, and the horse is learning, okay, when I move, the clippers stop, so I move. And now the rider gets, or the trainer gets all upset and starts punishing the horse because he's moving. And so all the horse is going to learn in that is, when I hear the sound of those clippers, when I'm in this context, I lose all the control of my environment. There's nothing I can do about it. It's a great problem with punishment is that when people start hitting on horses or banging on the halter or doing whatever they're doing, the horse has no way of removing the pressure. When we're conditioning responses with precision, we put pressure on and the horse always knows how to remove the pressure. But when people are punishing horses, there's nothing he can do. They're just sitting. What can he do to stop the pressure? Nothing. Well, that's intelligent. That's really going to help the horse a lot. So all he's going to learn is, in the context, when I hear those clippers, see those clippers, things go wrong. And the horse is going to make a very aversive association with the situation. The same thing will happen if he starts moving and stuff and you're getting your timing all wrong and you can't teach the horse not to move because you haven't learned how, and now you're using the twitch or something, and all the horse is going to do is associate, okay, when I hear the clippers, I get my nose squeezed by a rope, pretty uncomfortable, causes a fair bit of pain, don't like that, would rather avoid it. And you're causing the horse to make a very aversive, I won't use the word negative because we talked about that in another video, a very aversive association with the situation. If you're punishing the horse because he won't go into the trailer, it's the same thing's going to happen. The horse is going to say, okay, don't like trailers. If you're punishing the horse because he's not jumping jumps, don't like jumps. And if you're punishing the horse because you're not liking what he's doing, you probably won't be able to catch your horse afterwards because he doesn't like humans. So punishment has enormous associative risks. As I previously said, the other problem is the horse can't control his environment. And that's probably going to send the horse a little bit bonkers. Animals need to have the control of their environment. In science, we call it an Umwelt. Horses need to have the control of their Umwelt, of their environment. When things happen, they need to understand how they can improve their situation. Leg pressure comes on, I know how to remove it. Pressure comes into my mouth, I know how to remove it. Pressure comes onto an isolated leg, I know how to remove it. Horses know how to remove pressures, all good. They have the control of their environment, and sometimes the environment can even become predictable, which would be just wonderful for the horse. But punishment, the environment doesn't become predictable at all. It becomes absolutely out of control, nothing makes any sense, and all sorts of bad stuff happens. And it can go a fair way. I mean, it can go as far as horses developing neurosis and starting to bite themselves. I've seen horses get into automutilation. The whole immune system of the horse going downhill, the horse losing weight, loses a lot of weight. The immune system falls apart, they start getting sick, they start getting skin problems, and it all goes wrong. And it's the same with Occidental medicine, same thing that we see a lot over here. You get skin problems, you go to the dermatologist and he fixes the problem, but the problem isn't the problem, is it? We all know that a lot of these things come from something upstairs where the horses or you or the human, it happens to us too, is that we got a lot of stress, a lot of things going wrong, and the body starts to react, the body starts to send out messages saying not good, things are going bad, and there's no point in treating the symptoms. So see horses getting skin problems, see horses getting ulcers, see horses getting a lot of other medical problems, a lot of immune system problems, and these are, a lot of them are just come from stress. And one of the major stresses is punishment, when people don't actually know what they're doing. Now, there is still a problem. There's a lot of anthropomorphism in the horse world, and people still seem to be under the opinion that the horse should know what they want. The horse should understand what's wanted of him, which of course he doesn't. A jumping horse doesn't know that he should jump, and a dressage horse doesn't know that he should dance. We need to condition all those different responses, but what you require of the horse doesn't know that by some magical some magical way. So the associative risk of punishment is very important. The horse loses all control of the environment. People are often thinking the horse knows right from wrong and good from bad when they're punishing the horse, which is absolutely not happening. And Another so it's a major problem that happens with punishment, that it doesn't explain in any way, shape or form what the horse should have done. I even saw that in a book going back in the 18th century, Boucher, who talked about punishment doesn't explain what the horse should have done. So there's not a replacement behavior. The horse said, well, in order to avoid being hit, I'll do this behavior instead. And that stuff that's not going to happen. So the horse just learns that, well, that's making me uncomfortable. Now, the problem is the contingency. If the horse was getting uncomfortable while he was doing a non-appropriate or a bad behavior, understanding that he can't know it's bad, but he was doing some behavior, it's not what you want, and you could cause the horse to be uncomfortable while he's doing that behavior, that could be reasonably, it could work. But you would need amazing timing. I mean, you would have to be making the horse uncomfortable while the mouth is coming towards you if it was a biting horse. You would have to be making the horse uncomfortable while he's bucking. So you better be able to ride. You might need to make the horse uncomfortable while he's rearing. You better be able to ride. And you see some amazing theories with that. People riding around with eggs, trying to break an egg on his head and all sorts of things. Where you're probably not better off treating the problem. You're probably better off not better off treating the symptom. You should treat the problem. If he's rearing, if he's biting, if he's kicking, there's a cause, and find that. You know, it'd be like if you walk into your kitchen and there's water everywhere. Don't go and look for a sponge. Look for the leak. Look for the tap that was left on. Stop that. Fix the problem, but don't go running after the symptom. So a lot of people, they seem to treat the symptoms. Now, I'm not saying if a horse bites, I'll block him and he can run into my elbow and that'll make him uncomfortable. But I'll be very interested from then on, okay, what caused that? Did he learn to bite? Are people moving backwards when he bites and so he's reinforcing the behavior? Or is he frustrated? And if he's frustrated, why is he frustrated? Does he not have the control of his environment? Maybe he's frustrated because he's a young stallion and he's not getting any social interaction and he's living in a box and he's eating food that's too rich for him. And so I need to work his feet a little bit and help him get less frustrated. And then maybe the biting stuff will just go away. Maybe when the horse is better educated, problems go away. Instead of treating the problem, educate the horse so that the problem isn't there. Say that again. Instead of treating the problem, educate the horse so that the problem isn't there. But you need to know how to do that. And there's a lot of ways we can work on those things. But treating the problem often, treating the symptom often isn't the solution. So bad behaviors are often learned behaviors. Okay, how did he learn that? In what way is it profiting the horse? He's rearing. Okay, why is he doing that? And you already know the answer because it works. You know when the horse is doing a bad behavior, he's not doing it to be bad. He wouldn't know how to be. So he's probably doing it because it works. Why is he rearing? Because it works. Why is he biting? Because it works. Why is he kicking? Because it works very well for him. Gets humans to go backwards. He's figured it out. It's all good. Now, okay, well, now we need to think about how we're going to make it not work for him. What could we replace that behavior with? But punishing the bad behavior often isn't the solution. And punishment, as I said before, implies that the horse knew it was wrong. And if it's not contingent, if the punishment isn't happening during the expression of the behavior, it's happening afterwards, that would imply that the horse had reasoning abilities and could say, okay, I shouldn't have done what I just did, because if I had not have done that, I wouldn't be getting punished now. So the next time I'm in a similar situation, I'll try another behavior so as to avoid the punishment that happened to me after I did what I did. Now, the day that horses start thinking like that, we're all in trouble, because they're going to figure out pretty quickly, hey, I'm bigger than you, so, you know, try and get on, but it's not going to work. So we're happy enough that horses don't have amazing reasoning abilities, but then and oftentimes people say, well, we need to understand the capabilities of the horse, or the capacity, the mental or the cognitive capacity of the horse. We also need to understand the incapacities of the horse, what he's not able to understand. And punishment is one of those things. So often it means people are taking behaviors personally. They think he's doing it, that it's naughty behavior, that it's bad behavior. And they're getting the whole situation wrong. Now, punishment, a little bit like positive and negative reinforcement, can be divided into positive and negative. It is. Positive punishment means you've done something wrong and I give you a smack. And that's called positive punishment. And I quite like that example because it helps people understand that the words positive and negative have nothing to do with positive and negative. They're all about adding and subtracting. So if someone does something wrong, or if the horse does something wrong and I give him a smack, that's called positive punishment. If it's not contingent, if it's not happening when the behavior is happening, it's not going to work. It's just ineffective. It's just how it is. Now, if I was going to use negative punishment, that would imply that I would be removing something. Positive punishment, I'm adding something he doesn't like. Negative punishment, I'm removing something he does like. So that would be like, I've got someone in one of my classes and she's looking at a telephone too much, and I go over and I take the telephone away. I say, look, just stop looking at that. I'll just take it away from you. And that's a negative punishment. I'm removing something that she likes. Now, people use that also with horses sometimes. It's about as effective as positive punishment. It doesn't work at all. And often the contingency is even worse. For example, my horse behaves badly down on the jumping arena this afternoon. So this afternoon I'm not going to give him dinner. I might even stick the bucket out the front of his box and let him look at it so that he can think about, as if that could happen, so that he can think about what he did wrong this afternoon and understand why he didn't get his dinner. Now, to imagine that happening, you would have to be a long way off course. And unfortunately, it's still happening today. I see some sort of behaviors with animals sometimes, and I think that's amazing that the human could possibly think that that could work. Like people calling their dog and the dog's not coming, and they call the dog 3 or 4 times, and eventually they go over and they smack the dog because he didn't come, and they don't know why. When they call the dog's name, the dog takes off because the dog just makes the association. When I hear that word, which happens to be his name, several times, in the few minutes that follow, I find myself getting hit. So I hear that word now and I go, and they've caused the behavior, haven't understood a thing, and now they're ruining their dog. People are doing similar things with horses, imagining that the horse could understand right from wrong, good from bad, punishing him for bad behavior after he's done it, and then not giving him dinner so that he can think about what he's done wrong. So fully understanding how we use positive and negative, that's very important. Negative punishment, removing something that he does want, probably his dinner. Positive punishment, adding a smack or adding something that he doesn't like. The goal of punishment is to reduce the probability of behavior. The goal of reinforcement is to increase the probability of a behavior. And punishment doesn't usually work. It would have to be contingent. It would have to be at the moment of the expression of the behavior. It would require amazing timing. You could use it, or you could just try to find the cause of the problem or of the behavior and treat the cause rather than the symptom. So we're still seeing a lot of people taking a lot of things personally, thinking that the dog or the horse or whatever could do the wrong thing, thinking that they understand right from wrong. And that anthropomorphism with science can be pushed aside, and we can have a clearer understanding, okay, this is what's actually going on. Because if we're interpreting the situation wrong, we could be reacting wrong to the situation, and that'd be a shame, not only for the human, but especially for the horse. Few things to think about, but maybe punishment, that can become one of those things that we put in we used to do that, we don't do it anymore. Worth thinking about. I'll talk to you soon in another video.